Welcome back to GSMC's Down by Contact Sports Podcast. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is Tuesday, March 18th, if you are just tuning in. We just finished going over everything that had to do with the Japan series, including previewing Roki Sasaki's MLB debut taking place tomorrow morning in the United States, 6 a.m. local time in the East Coast. In this segment, we turn our attention to previewing an MLB team, a team that was just absolutely ravaged by injuries last season, the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves, if they can stay healthy, should have a massive comeback this season. But we'll talk about all that in just a second. But before we do, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Or if you're on YouTube, you can use that super chat feature. If you do either of those two things, a message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everybody so much for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Tuesday, March 18th. But like I was saying, we are going to get into a little bit on the Atlanta Braves. What's going on with them this season? First of all, let's take a look at what happened last season. The Atlanta Braves on paper had a roster to rival the Los Angeles Dodgers. Unfortunately, it all came unraveled at the seams. Injuries to their best pitcher, Spencer Strider, their best hitter, Ronald Acuna Jr., and injuries up and down that lineup really sunk this team. They finished still at a very respectable 89-73, second place in the NL East, 6 games back of those division-winning Phillies, who had one of the best records in baseball. They ended up losing in the wild card round 2-0 to the San Diego Padres, who were looking like the best team in the NL all of last season. Chris Sale, though, won the NL Cy Young Award. He was a guy that really kept them afloat. Hard to trust him again, and a guy that's gotten a lot of injuries in his career. But the Braves, 89-73 last season when dealing with a bajillion injuries. What can they do? What can they do differently this year? Well, first of all, get healthy, right? The injuries that they're suffering right now, Ronald Acuna Jr., who tore his ACL for the second time in his career, this time the other one is targeting an early May return. He's going to go to rehab, play in the minors in April. He's targeting May for a return. If he's able to get in that early in the MLB season, that would be huge. They've already lost some injuries. Catcher Sean Murphy out 4 to 6 weeks with cracked ribs. But good news on the injury front, as Spencer Strider, their ace, a guy that I think should be in the front runner, one of the front runners for NL Cy Young this year, along with Paul Skeens. Spencer Strider made his spring training debut yesterday. He should be good to go. Struck out 8 in 6 innings. He is elite. His strikeout stuff is some of the best we've ever seen, comparable to a guy like Chris Sale, who also on that pitching staff. This is a very, very solid team, and they're starting to get healthy again. We'll see if they can keep it that way. What did they do outside of getting their guys back? They weren't super busy in free agency, but they did bring in a couple guys that I think could be very important. Yesterday, they brought in James McCann, most likely as a Sean Murphy replacement for the 4 to 6 weeks that he is out. Right now, their starting catcher is not who you want it to be. Right now, their starting catcher is Drake Baldwin. They need to get a guy. McCann, a solid veteran, someone that can just do the job while their guy is healing up. They also brought in a lot of good relief pitchers. Hector Neris to a minor league deal. Buck Farmar to a minor league deal. Chad Kuhl, Jordan Weems to a minor league deal. One of my favorite pitchers from Washington. But their big swing this offseason, was bringing in Jurickson Profar. Jurickson Profar had a breakout year last year, was selected to the All-Star game for the first time in his career, and was one of the main reasons why the Padres were so good. At 3 years, $42 million, $14 million a year for him, not that bad. They brought in some depth in Brian De La Cruz at the league minimum, $860,000 one-year contract for him, as well as re-signing relief pitcher Aaron Bummer, and re-signing starting pitcher Reynaldo Lopez to a 3-year deal. This was huge for them. They're continuing to build out their pitching staff. They did lose some guys that were very important there, but it's a very solid pitching staff still, right? They lost both Max Fried to the Yankees and Charlie Morton, as well as a couple guys for depth in their lineup. Gio Urshela, Whit Merrifield, Adam Duvall, some guys that could help in the bullpen, and Huascar Yanoa, Jesse Chavez, and John Brebbia, as well as AJ Minter being the big one there. But this is a team that still has plenty of depth left. They moved off of Jorge Soler, trading the big power bat to the Angels in exchange for starting pitcher Griffin Canning. Griffin Canning, who was later moved on from the Braves, but pretty solid move for them to get off of a contract in Jorge Soler, someone that just doesn't quite fit that team as much as they need him to. When we take a look at where the lineup is sitting right now, though, Jurickson Profar, the free agent addition to lead off, with Austin Riley behind him. Now, this is going to change once they get Acuna back. When they get Acuna back, Acuna most likely going to slide into that 2-hole right behind Jurickson Profar, maybe back into the leadoff spot. But Profar at the 1, Austin Riley at the 2 for now, Matt Olson, first baseman, hitting 3rd, Marcelo Zuna in the cleanup spot, hitting 4th, Michael Harris, the center fielder, one of the best defenders in baseball, at 5, Ozzie Albies, one of the best second basemen in baseball, hitting 6th. We talked about the catching position right now. That's projected to be Drake Baldwin on opening day, Sean Murphy dealing with those injuries. Maybe it becomes James McCann when he gets more used to being a Brave. Orlando Arcia at shortstop, and Jared Kelenic or Brian De La Cruz. Brian De La Cruz, a guy they brought in free agency, and Kelenic, someone that they took a risk on last season. He's been solid, but not the guy that you necessarily want. Again, he's going to be out of the lineup once Ronald Acuna returns and takes his normal right field post. But for now, that's where it's looking. This is a very, very solid lineup, especially when you picture adding Acuna back to it. The former MVP is one of the best pure hitters in baseball. He's got true 5 tools: power, speed, everything you possibly could want out of a baseball player. He's got all of it. He is going to be an amazing addition to this lineup when he does become healthy again, and they're going to be juggernauts this season. The projected rotation, like we said, is nothing to scoff at either. Spencer Strider should be back. He's going to be that number 1 guy. Behind him, number 2, the reigning NL Cy Young winner in Chris Sale. Behind him, despite them losing Max Fried and Charlie Morton, they've got Reynaldo Lopez, Spencer Schwellenbach, Grant Holmes, and AJ Smith-Shawver, right? All of these guys are really solid. That is a 6-man rotation. You can kick one of them back into the bullpen or down to the minors if you need to, but this is exactly what this team is. A team with almost no holes. Of course, it'd be nice to have a little bit more outfield depth for injury concern, as this is a team that, dealt with a lot of that last season, but it's not likely that their same amount of injuries are going to bite them again this year. The bullpen took a little bit of a hit, but you still have your closer in Rafael Iglesias down there. You've still got Pierce Johnson and Aaron Bummer, who they gave a big extension to, Dylan Lee, Hector Neris, Daysball Hernandez, Eniel De Los Santos, and Ian Anderson to close out that bullpen. This is a team that is going to score a lot of runs. This is a team that, as long as they can get to the back end of that bullpen, is going to be just fine. I love this Braves team. They should be all the way back. Their over-under, depending on where you look, is between 92 and 93.5 games. I think they go over both of those numbers pretty easily. I think they win this division pretty handily. The NL East, I think they're the best team there. And I think this is a Braves team that's a true World Series contender. Now, it does depend on health. Can Chris Sale stay healthy? He doesn't have to get back to NL Cy Young form like he was last season, but he needs to stay healthy for this team. Can Ronald Acuna Jr. return to what he was pre-injury? He did that when he tore his last ACL, but it's tough to do that coming off of a second ACL. It's a scary thing to think about. If he's back, this is a Braves team I think I can project anywhere from 97 to 100 wins. I'm going to go more conservative here, put them at 97 and 65. This is a very, very good Braves team, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think of the Braves? Do you think that they're going to be able to make a run this year to the World Series? How do they rank up? How do they stack up against a World Series favorite like the Los Angeles Dodgers? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you, everybody so much for tuning into today's episode of GSMC's Down by Contact Sports Podcast. I have been your host, Jeremy Lapidus. We will be back tomorrow going over everything from around the world of sports. The tournament begins on Thursday, and that's when we dive deep into NCAA basketball coverage. Until then, NBA Power Rankings tomorrow. We continue with our regularly scheduled program. I've been your host, Jeremy Lapidus, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to